Back at it again, talking about stuff. So this time, I want to talk about the whole subject of being introverted and how I'm kind of sick of it. So I was introverted most of my life, pretty much my whole life. I like to be in a homebody, still, just staying at home, chilling, watching movies or reading books, playing video games, things like that. Being on the computer. But as I got older, there was a fluctuation in my habits. Sometimes I wanted to do that, other times I didn't. When I was living in Los Angeles, I found reasons for myself to get out of the house and go meet people. I used to do that like if it was my day off or after work. Excuse me. And it was actually a lot of fun. And I find that the whole idea of being an introvert, in some aspects, is kind of overrated. And I'm going to point this out too. So, a lot of times, whenever we compare introverts to extroverts, people, from my perspective, can't seem to do it without crapping on extroverts. They go on about how they have, let's say they have like superficial relationships and friendships, or they're not as focused, or how they're so high energy that they're exhausting to be around. And I guess some of that's true, but I just don't think we have to you don't have to make them look worse than an introvert when you have to compare them, because let's face it, extroverts, people who like to talk, some people might think they're exhausting to be around, but hey, someone might find them very fun to be around, or they are like the life of the party. And then as far as like the whole relationship things, maybe that's true, but we don't know that for sure. Maybe they do have superficial relationships or friendships, maybe they don't. We don't always know that. And then with introverts, and I'm speaking for myself here, that just being at home and then not going out and meeting people, that can be boring. For me, it's gotten boring. So nowadays I'm looking for excuses to get out of the house every day. Whether that's running errands or I gotta go pick something up, something like that. And I just become a little more bold, just talking to people, because, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I noticed that people are going on and on online about the loneliness pandemic for like Gen Z, and we could do something about this. Loneliness is a choice. I know people think that introverts are cool and interesting and more attractive. But, that lifestyle, I haven't lived it myself for a few years, it's gotten a little boring for me. And it's completely anecdotal. As a side note, I feel like the only time an introvert is attractive is when people find them physically attractive. That's just my opinion. So this video, I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you are introverted, it's not that bad to go out and meet people and socialize. Now, if you have social anxiety or something like that, then you probably want to work on it. Maybe find some way to manage it. But if you aren't, if you just, if you think that being like that is cool, just being introverted and cold and distant from people, almost borderline misanthropic, if you think that's cool, then go for it. I'm just speaking from my own perspective here. And I think that, it gets boring. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love watching movies and reading books, but looking back, that might be something I do at like the end of the day. Maybe a few hours before I go to bed. I might check out a book, or before that I might just watch a movie, just sit down and chill. But aside from before I'm doing any of that night, I gotta find a reason to get out of the house. Maybe even just going for a walk and say hi to your neighbors. You're running errands, see somebody, maybe they got like a nice tattoo or a cool shirt. Start a conversation from there. Build some rapport. And I'm only talking about this because it's like a little video diary for me basically right now. I just don't think that, be an ambivert. That's what it is. You can be sociable, but you can also like your time alone. And you can be good at talking to people, but you can also be a good listener. You gotta find that balance. I think balance is key, and that's what I'm working on right now for myself. And I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just on here ranting and rambling. Thanks for listening, by the way, if you haven't clicked off yet. And that's all I really got for today. It was just a little shorter than I thought it would be. But hey, you know what? Thanks anyway for watching.